Charles, how are you?
I'm good. This is a special Jack Kerouac on the road edition, I guess.
Exactly. A little impromptu road trip. I didn't really announce this before it happened, but I was talking about it just a bit yesterday, and there's already been tons of agitation as a result. Charles, something interesting for you to check out here. Undoubtedly, well, first of all, I'm in. Should I say where I am? People will be able to figure it
Not
out.
not not precisely, I wouldn't.
People will be able to figure it out when we start talking about some stuff. But I would say it's very likely that there'll be a complaint made to the fishing and game warden any moment, because there's no fishing allowed here. And certainly wherever I show up, complaints from losers seem to follow. But that's not what we're going to talk about today, Charles. There's a ton of stuff going on. I think a lot of people are really pretty, I don't know if surprised, upset, what the word would be, but Joe Biden is such a damn moron. He's surprised that there's classified documents at his old office.
Well, and that story is already unraveling because the suspicion is, remember, somebody wrote a book for Joe in the period between his departure from the vice president's residence to taking up residence in the White House. A book was published. A book needed access to information, and this gets to a larger issue. I'm looking at a book. I put it up here, but it would knock basically um, the electronic apparatus through which I'm talking is resting on the book.
Oh
So
yeah,
I don't
don't
want to
do
get
that.
I don't want to do that. So it's a book by this guy also Brook called Presidential Archivists, and
Oh right.
it addresses the historical tension. It wasn't until I think 1955 or thereabouts. Sorry, yeah, 1955 was when the Presidential Library Statute went into effect, but it wasn't until 1978 that it was, in theory, clarified in the Presidential Records Act what constitutes a presidential record and what constitutes a personal record. But that was, in theory, clarified in part over the controversy, or as the Brits like to say, controversies, involving the nutcase, Richard M. Nixon, who liked to, like probably like Joe, wander around the White House drunk talking to
Drunk,
portraits.
right.
Right. And so,
Suddenly everything turned off, and probably
well,
all of our audience left. But
well,
this
no, no,
is
yeah, it's probably, that we have the most competent cabinet member in the Biden administration, somebody who has distinguished himself by fucking up the supply chain, by fucking up the congestion at ports, and now by fucking up the FAA, is somebody I have a new name for, just.
what? Who?
It's Secretary Asshole Pothole, just like that cartoon character Foghorn Leghorn. It's not just Secretary Pothole; it's Asshole Pothole. I mean, the guy. It's ridiculous what's going on here. But
Just as a brief
they,
interlude, Charles, let me share with you some duck action.
all right.
It's a good thing to calm me down after a technological failure. I don't know. I don't know if we're still on the same stream here. I think people are going to have to back out to everybody a little heads up as to what just occurred. Never had a failure like that before. First, I lost audio on Charles. I just watched the playback a little bit. You guys saw it just cut, but first I lost audio on Charles. Then the whole entire phone locked up. That was a failure unlike any that I've ever experienced before. So a lot of people were saying, oh, we'll catch the director's cut. I just wanted everybody to know there's no show. I unfortunately just released Charles. I don't like tying him up with technical problems, and he gets kind of, he doesn't like really the Skype version of the show. Let me not speak for him. He prefers in-person interviews than Skype. That's long known, and I get very sensitive about wasting people's time with technical problems when they're on the other end of a thing, and I didn't want to become super crazy, which that problem was making me, but I did want to tell everybody about this house. I wanted to tell Charles about it. We wanted to talk about Joe Biden taking documents in January of 2017 that pertain to Ukraine and his crackhead son doing business in Ukraine. But this house, it was owned by Mary Lincoln, and the person who owns it now told me that it was transported here from elsewhere in Jacksonville, Florida, on this I don't know, is this a river or what is this? But on this body of water, they floated this house down here and then, you know, restored it here. And it's now a land development company that owns it. And that was an interesting little anecdote. I hope this appended to the end of the other stream. I think that that must have been a grounding problem from that sound mixer. That little Swedish sound mixer is such a pain in the ass. It's nice that it fits in my pocket, but man, that thing causes problems. And I spent a lot of time on email with them, and they were like, oh, no, it should work. And when I figured out that ground loop lifting problem, I bought a ground loop lifter from somebody else. I went to their webpage the other day, haven't spoken to them about this yet. They sell a ground loop lifter now. They didn't tell me anything about that. Sweden. Sorry, everybody, no show, but yeah. See, I should have thought of this and just brought in Charles with these headphones. It must be that sound mixer creating grounding problems here in the phone. It could also be this. I'm sorry, everyone. That's it for today. The show will resume. Obviously, I'm on the road trip. I apologize to Charles. It is, I was so calm in the time before the show began when I was just waiting here for Charles by the water, and I had a wonderful walk through this town planned for everybody, but I'm a little bit on tilt right now.